What is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new YouTube video, episode 2 of the Summer Shred. Here we go. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the importance of having a structure when it comes to hitting your nutritional targets. I'm going to explain the exact structure that I use and show you the kind of foods that I typically eat in order to follow that structure. It's not quite a full day of eating video, but I'm going to be showing you plenty of breakfast ideas, mid-morning ideas, lunch ideas, pre-workout, post-workout, dinner, etc, etc. So make sure you stay tuned for this one. You're going to have to excuse my scruffiness today, by the way. I definitely need a haircut and my beard is not lined up, but I've seen my barber tomorrow. I just couldn't get an appointment with him today because I have paddle this morning. Speaking of which, you know, I was so excited to start this weekend with a good old game of paddle because, I mean, that's how I start most weekends. So I turned up there at Port Sunlight this morning at like 8:15. Fresh faced out of bed, excited to kick some names and take some ass. But unfortunately, we lost this morning. It wasn't great. It was one of those games, it was super close, but we just made a few too many mistakes and ultimately came away without the win. But you know, guys, it is what it is. Losing is unfortunately part of the game. I'm still going to bring the energy and make a great video for you today. So you all know the drill. Make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with this series. Summer Shred, episode 2. Sit back, relax, and let's get into this one. So of course we're going to start with the first meal of the day, breakfast, and what I've shown you in this little clip here, this is pretty much the kind of food that I would have for breakfast basically every day. It always involves a slice of sourdough, protein sourdough from Aldi. By the way, this taste is amazing. That will pretty much be with avocado and egg, or sometimes beans and egg, depending on just what I feel like, really. I'll always have a portion of fruit, whether that's strawberries, pears, blackberries, blueberries, whatever, and I'll always have my morning shake, which is a bit annoying at the minute because I normally get my raw cacao from Costco, and they've discontinued it, and I did buy some more from eBay, but it's taken like 2 weeks to arrive, and I'm currently in a dispute with the seller, so pray for me. Now, I do know that a lot of people probably choose not to have breakfast for various reasons, maybe intermittently fast or whatever, but for me, I often train first thing in the morning, so it's quite important for me, especially to get my breakfast in first thing. So of course it makes sense that post-workout I want a nice, well-rounded nutritional meal. Plenty of protein, plenty of carbs, and some good fats in there as well. I also take my morning supplements, as you would have seen in that section as well. I mean, that's optional, depends on your regime, but I like to knock it out first thing in the morning. Now, what other options could you have other than these? Now, in the past, I'll have stuff like breakfast muffins. I've done stuff like breakfast focaccias. You could also add some kind of chicken sausage. I haven't had chicken sausage in a long time, but you know, if you want to add it, you know, you can easily replace something from here with that instead. But I'm in a good system of having these kind of foods every day for breakfast now. You know, not only does it get me the proteins, carbs, and fats that I want, it's also like a lot of this food is very high in fiber. I get 1 to 2 portions of my fiber a day in my breakfast, and I make a good jump towards my protein goal as well. So if you're struggling for breakfast ideas, I think this right here is a really solid shout. But OG viewers of the channel might know that something important comes before breakfast. Oh god, I got brain freeze. Why did I do that? Every day before breakfast, gotta start with a water chug. You can just feel it doing good things to your body. Anyways, that's what my breakfast typically looks like, and hopefully you took some ideas away from that. Make sure you leave a comment below with any questions you might have about your breakfast. Next, let's talk about frequency of meals and how to structure them. Okay, so as you've seen, I've just made a little bit of space on the whiteboard so I can draw off this kind of like timeline. I want to call this a timeline because I want to show you like how you can, you know, use essentially an eating timeline or an eating pattern to your advantage here. So I want you to take this concept and apply it to what your typical day looks like. So for me, my typical first meal of the day starts around 7:30. In the morning, which is obviously breakfast, and then I normally have my last meal probably around 7:30 at night. Now obviously that is a 12-hour eating window, so in that time I typically have 5 meals. So I've got my breakfast, got my mid-morning, got my lunch, and then I've got like something smaller that I have pre-workout, and then my 5th and final meal is my dinner. And then I guess if you want to count a 6th, that's my if I've got some calories left over, I'll have a snack, but I'm not going to put that on this timeline just for the sake of this example. So have a think about your eating window and what it looks like. When is your first meal, when's your last meal, and how long is the gap between those two? And then also think about how many meals you typically eat per day. So for me, I've got my breakfast, and it's important for me to have that in the morning because, as I explained earlier, training is normally what I do first thing in the morning. So that means it's quite important for me to get my food in. And it's also for that reason that I have most of my calories probably around my my workout window, so like my bigger meals. So my breakfast, depending on what I have, can be anywhere from like 600 to 800 calories, which probably is one of my larger meals of the day. My mid-morning meal I typically have around 11 a.m. And that is pretty much always, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I post up my story all the time. It's pretty much always a yogurt bowl. Literally, all you got to do is take 250 grams of yogurt, and then I mix in 10 grams of honey, 16 grams of peanut butter powder. Sometimes if I fancy it, I'll swap the honey for a jam of some kind of flavor. And then I'll top that yogurt with a good portion of fruit, normally a good 120 grams of berries. Also, if I'm extra hungry, or if I've got the calories for it, I will add some granola as well. And I will say that mid-morning is probably where I have the least flexibility for food. I mean, I like having the yogurt bowl. I have it pretty much every day. I'm used to it, so I just eat it. And again, that yogurt bowl has plenty of good proteins and carbs in it. It's quite lower on the fat side, which is completely fine. If anything, it's more important for me to have my carbs around the workout window. And another thing I should have mentioned as well, think about your total caloric intake for the day, or how many calories you currently allow yourself. Right now I'm 2,400. So for that reason, I pretty much always have my yogurt bowls without granola at the moment. I just don't really feel like I've got enough calories for them. And that's fine. That also means that my breakfast and mid-morning meal typically come to, just under 1,000 calories. So I've still got plenty left for the day. Next meal for me, and this is probably around 2:30 p.m. Let's go with 2 p.m. just for the sake of the example. And that is my official lunch. Now, lunch is typically quite a small meal for me because, if I train in the morning or in the evening, lunch is slap bang in the middle of the day, and it's also when I'm at the office, just at my desk most of the time. So I don't mind having a smaller lunch. Now, if you've seen, some of the grocery shops that I've done, you probably noticed those Aldi protein ready meals pop up quite a lot. Hang on one sec. I needed that so badly. Yeah, as I was saying, lunch is typically when I'm at the desk anyway. I'm not very active or whatever, so I tend to have one of the smaller meals. One of those Aldi ready meals is normally around, it's pretty much always under 400 calories and somewhere around like 30 to 35 grams of protein. So yeah, that is definitely a smaller meal, but because it's nowhere near my workout windows or in the evening, recently I've been doing cardio, so like to have a smaller meal, slap bang in the middle of those is what I tend to do. Alright guys, I'm just quickly interrupting Whiteboard Dean for a sec, by the way. Check the haircut. It's been done now. Because I thought it'd be a good idea to show you one of those Aldi ready meals and we'll try it together. So this must be one of the new ones because I've not seen this on the shelves before. This is the creamy chicken and greens. And I was saying how they're really good in calories and stuff. This is just 375 calories. It has 37 grams of protein and 1 of your 5 a day. It looks really tasty. So yeah, just thought it'd be cool to show you an example. Let's give this one a try, shall we? Guys, get on this. I think this is going to be really tasty. This whole pack, by the way, 375 calories, 9.2 fat, 31.9 carb, and 37.1 protein. Those macros are bloody amazing. And as you can see, it does contain loads of veg. It's got like some cabbage in there, it's got some green beans, it's got peas, it's got broccoli, a few carrots in there as well. Very excited to give this one a try. I would recommend that you go to your local supermarket and just see what they've got available. Normally they've got really good options for lower calorie, higher protein ready meals now. Like in Aldi, they've got a sweet and sour chicken, which I think is really tasty. They've got a harissa chicken, but I think they've discontinued that. They've got like jerk chicken, peri-peri chicken. It's actually a really good selection. And at like £2.39 a meal, I really don't think it's that bad at all. Anyways, let's go ahead and give the creamy chicken and greens a try. You know what? For a £2.39 ready meal from Aldi, it's pretty bloody good, Is it the best meal you'll ever have? Of course not. But I just think for the price point and what you get for this, I'd rather do this than cook, to be honest with you. In terms of rating out of 10, I think this is going to get probably a 6.8 out of 10. It's actually pretty good. By the way, I know my food ratings might sound harsh, but the way I see it, 5 is literally middle of the road, bang average. This is definitely above average, but because of what it is, it's just a basic, cheap ready meal. There is probably a ceiling on what you can rate it. Like this would never be a 10 out of 10. I don't think any ready meal would. But yeah, I think that's a fair rating for this. It's actually pretty good. Anyways, I'm going to crush this. Let's get back to the whiteboard for now. And in terms of ideas for yourself for lunch, if you're an office worker, you're not really active during the day, I would recommend having something a bit lower calorie, especially if it's not anywhere around the workout window. If you go in for a lunchtime workout or a lunchtime walk or something, then yeah, maybe you can probably afford yourself a few more calories. But in terms of options of what you can actually eat, I think the Aldi ready meals, they always got quite a lot of veg in them, minimum 1 portion. And if you don't quite have a system in place where you can cook tea for yourself and make sure you've got enough for the next day as well, I think there's nothing wrong with finding yourself a good quality ready meal. And of course, yes, it would be so much better for you to have home cooked single ingredient foods. But at this moment in time, I would prefer the convenience of having a meal that's already there. I can just throw it in the microwave. It's got protein, it's got veg, it's got fiber. It just is important that you pick a good quality one. Most supermarkets have good options for them now anyway, so take a look at what your local supermarket's got. So then I'll have my pre-workout meal probably somewhere around 5 to 5:30 p.m. We'll say 5:30 because that sounds more accurate. I mean, sometimes I don't have anything, especially if I'm not training, I'll just wait until dinner. But more recently, with me being on the cut now, yes, I'm going in for cardio, so I would have something before that. Now, this will be another fairly small meal, and it's pretty carb heavy as well, generally speaking. Especially if I'm going in to do cardio, I might have a few rice cakes. I might just have a good portion of fruit. I might have a couple of baby bells for a bit of protein and fat if I'm behind on those for the day. This meal is probably where I have quite a lot of flexibility. It just depends on what I've got in and what I fancy, really. But yeah, 5:30, I'll have something a bit more carb heavy around pre-workouts, but it won't be that many calories. And then 7:30 p.m. is where I will have my dinner. Now, on 2 a day training days, I'll have done my morning workouts plus my evening cardio. Yeah, I'll be quite famished at this stage, so we'll have quite a big dinner. But if I've not done cardio in the evening, I might just try and have something a little bit lighter. But usually, if I've stuck to the plan across the whole day, I normally have quite a lot of calories left over for dinner and some snacks. So yeah, it just depends on how the day's gone, but generally speaking, I will have a decent sized dinner. And in terms of what I have for dinner, now I am one of those people who, like, plain and simply, I like simple food. Like, I could quite easily have for dinner every single day, and I mean this, like, genuinely. I could quite easily have either rice or potatoes, either or, just depends on what I'm in the mood for. Either asparagus or broccoli, because I just love them both, and I eat them a lot. And then my protein is normally some kind of chicken skewers. Every now and then I might treat myself to a steak, or I'll do some like air fried chicken breast or chicken thigh fillets. When you eat like that, you can literally just change the seasoning that you have on your chicken. You can change the carbs, so you can have your rice or potatoes, whichever one you feel like. And you can rotate your veg as well. So like for me, it tends to be broccoli and asparagus, but you can have pretty much whatever you want. And then there are some days where I can go across the whole day and I've just got loads of calories left over at the end of the day. And when I do that, what I tend to do is, instead of my chicken, I'll have a nice big 200-gram portion of salmon. And even despite the big dinner, if I follow this plan well, then I've got some room for snacks in the evening. Again, more recently, because I've been on the cut, I've been trying to be a bit better with that, because yes, I mean, I went through a little phase of just like having crisp and chocolate and stuff like that. Completely fine if you can fit it in your calories, but with me being on a cut, I'd rather swap that now to, like, fruits, dark chocolate, nuts, that kind of thing. And that, I guess, is my food timeline across the day. Now, this structure helps me so much. When you get into a rhythm of doing this, you know roughly what times you eat, roughly what times you get hungry, roughly what food you have at each time of the day. You can just create a system that works, especially if you're tracking your calories, you're tracking your foods. Use this to your advantage, because you can literally just like create a system that works for you, and it'll just be like clockwork. That's what this system is like for me at the moment. Yes, it is a bit different on the weekends, but especially during the week, Monday to Friday, this is what my eating days will look like, and I very much enjoy it. So here's mine. I want you to think about yours. Think about your food timeline, what it looks like. Think about your meal timings. Think about what you would like to be eating at these times of the day, and create a system that works. You'll be surprised at like how, if you can get into a rhythm of this, eating foods that you enjoy, and you will just get to a stage where you can just like literally manipulate this, and you can just lose fat. You can maintain from here. You can literally just make very small adjustments to this depending on what your goal is. And actually, seeing as I've just explained this, if you're watching this and you follow me on Instagram as well, would you find it useful if I posted the meals so you can just get an idea visually what they look like and what kind of foods I eat on those meals? Because if it does happen to be something that you enjoy, you can quite easily just like copy and paste it. Like across this day, I get like more than my 5 a day. I get plenty of fiber. I've got no problem hitting my calorie and protein goals. And then also, if I share these, you might actually be surprised at what I have for my snacks in the evening, and you might look at that and think, well, I didn't realize you could do that and still get the results that Dean's getting. So let me know in the comments below if that might be helpful for you. Right, that's enough of the whiteboard segment. Let's go ahead and crack on with the rest of the video. All right, folks, so I was hoping to close this video up by actually showing you one of those meals, one of my basic chicken skewer, potatoes and veg meals, but it's what, 7:05 in the evening now, and I'm not really hungry enough to eat. So I'm probably just gonna film this last clip, get the video exported, get the video uploaded, and the thumbnail, etc. all done in time for the 8 PM deadline, which is coming up very soon. So I'm gonna wrap up this video there. I'm sure I'm gonna be doing loads of eating videos like during this cut anyways, because I think it just makes sense, and some of the training ones as well. But a lot of it for me is the nutrition side, especially on a cut, is by far the more prevalent thing. So I'm sure you'll see one of those meals at some point, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see it even sooner. So I hope this food timeline / like food system kind of video has been beneficial to you, and I hope it's something that you can learn and take away from. I'm not joking when I say that this is so habitual for me. It's just like brushing my teeth. Like my stomach is just like on autopilot and knows what to expect, what time to expect it, So yeah, it just works really well, and it really is, once you got a system in place, it's just about the small adjustments. Can you make some small tweaks to the snacks that you have in the day? And for me, that's where most of the tweaks come from, depending on if I want to maintain / pack on a little bit of muscle, or just, you know, boost my energy in the gym or whatever, or if I want to cut. A lot of it comes down to the snacks that I have in between / at the end of the day. I can very easily manipulate my calories and protein based on that alone. And I hope that one of the key takeaways you get from this is that it really doesn't have to be complicated. It can be a very simple system that you have for food, and it can also be very much centered around food that you enjoy. Like, I love the food that I eat on a daily basis, and I want you to understand that just because you're on a cut, just because you're trying to lose fat, that does not mean absolute doom and gloom. It doesn't mean meals consisting of just chicken and veg and rice or whatever. Like, even though I like those meals, and you can do, and if you do them right, they are very tasty. But you know what I'm trying to get at? Most people associate cutting fat with doom and gloom and just like being sad and being depressed and just poverty macros and all that kind of thing. I don't believe that at all. I believe it is more than possible, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face, for you to achieve whatever your fitness goal is, whether that's like, you know, getting lean or like, you know, getting muscular, and still enjoying the foods that you eat on a daily basis. So hopefully, not just during the series, but just over time, watching my videos, you will learn that. And you'll also see examples of it before your very eyes. I know I haven't done any weigh-ins or physique checks during the series so far, but there's also kind of a reason for that. It's because, you know, I don't want you to get obsessed with, you know, seeing quick results within a week. I'm probably going to give it at least 2 to 3 weeks before I show you anything, really. Because again, I want to emphasize that this is very much a long-term behavioral thing. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video there. I would like to thank you so much for tuning in. You could have been doing literally anything, and I'm so grateful that you chose to spend a few minutes with me. If you've got any questions based on what you've seen in today's video, leave them in the comments below. I'll make sure I address them. And of course, remember to leave the video a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with this series. I'm actually away next weekend, so yes, I am filming a full day of eating, but it's going to be a full day of eating when I'm on the road. So I'm going to show you how I stay on track even when the plans that I've got take me away from home. So I hope to see you there. Thanks again for watching this one. Have an amazing week ahead, and I'll see you in episode 3. Peace.